Choose a variety of proteins each week: seafood, lean meat, poultry, beans, and nuts. Fill half your plate with fruits and vegetables every meal. Look for foods low in calories, fat, and sodium, and maintain a healthy weight. A registered dietitian nutritionist can help. Find one at eatright.org.
You have the right to know. The right to know about culture. The right to know about the economy. The right to know about technology and to know about sports. You have the right to know about education and politics and the weather. You have the right to know what's happening abroad and in your backyard. But above all else, you have the right to know that this right is under attack, and we must work to protect it. Because in order to be free, we must be informed. Understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.
Before I was adopted, I felt like nobody wanted me. I felt like my life was already over.
At a certain age, they don't want you. You're troubled and stuff.
Even if I wanted to be adopted, who would adopt a 17-year-old?
Inside, I knew, I'm not a troubled kid. I know what I'm in for, why I'm here.
My biggest fear was that I would age out and not know how to be sufficient on my own.
I had nightmares every single day at my birth mom's house. It was just really scary for me living there.
I was scared, I was lost, and I felt hopeless.
I felt like, don't I deserve to feel happy and loved?
I just wish I'd gotten adopted sooner.
Unfortunately, the number of children waiting to be adopted from foster care is on the rise. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is the only public nonprofit charity in the U.S. focused exclusively on foster care adoption. You can help. Go to davethomasfoundation.org to learn more.
The Cool Hits 105.7 weather is brought to you by Moe's, 115 6th Street, Ashland, which caters and has gift cards. Come, dine in.
Welcome to Moe's! Cool Hits weather.
Cloudy skies early today, followed by partial clearing. Later on, a high near 50. Cloudy skies this evening with rain after midnight, low of 34. Sunday, periods of rain, a high of 44.
Cool Hits 105.7.
Well, it's time for me to fade back into history.
Live from the 60s.
I'm the real Don Steele, and remember, the love you take is equal to the love you make. I'll be back next week, same time, same station, and most of all, same decade.
Live from the 60s.
This program was created and produced by M.G. Kelly. Executive producer, Sean Steele. Associate producer, Michael Schoenfeld. Co-producer, Krista Anderson. Live from the 60s with the real Don Steele is an M.G. Kelly production. All rights reserved.
The Cool Hits 105.7 studios are sponsored by Southern Ohio Medical Center. Cancer can be very scary, and cancer care can be complicated. But the SOMC Cancer Center takes you from what appears to be a maze to amazing care. SOMC, very good things are happening here.
Cool Hits 105.7 WLGC FM. Green Up, Ashland.
Portions of this program may have been pre-recorded.
Cool Hits 105.7 and the Cool Hits Sports Network now presents Let's Talk Sports. Get ready as we talk with players and coaches. Take a look at the top stories in sports and take a look at all the scores from the night before. It's Let's Talk Sports, brought to you by Kentucky Farmers Bank, Clark's Puppet Shops of the Tri-State, Stoltz Pharmacy, River Cities Builders, and Wagner Rental and Supply. Now, let's talk sports with your host, James Collier.
And welcome into Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network. James Collier, happy to have you along with us this morning. We've got a full house, literally, in the building this morning. We've got Ashland head coach Ryan Bonner and 8 members of the 16th Region champion Ashland Tomcats. We're going to talk with all of them in just a little bit as we talk about 5 in a row, one for the thumb, if you will, and preview their matchup coming up against Owensboro on that opening night of the Boys Sweet 16 down at Rupp Arena. We'll go through the 16th Region Tournament, preview that matchup coming up. We'll talk with some of the boys and kind of get their thoughts of the opportunity to head back to Rupp Arena. That's when we do all of that this morning. Then toward the end of the show, we'll take a look at a little bit of bracketology, if I can squeeze some in. Still some craziness there. I think it's one of the most open fields that we've seen in the field of 68 when we start March Madness next week for sure. And, of course, the Borders Sporting Goods rant of the week coming up a little bit later on in the show. Let's take our first break. When we return, I've got Ryan Bonner, head coach of the Ashland Tomcats, in studio. We'll talk when we return after this here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hit Sports Network.
In addition to the Greenup location, Stultz Pharmacy's newest location is at 437 James Hanna Drive in South Shore, but has retained the name you know and love, McDonald Pharmacy, with the same great service you'll find in the Greenup location, with free delivery service and their convenient drive-thru. Get your vaccinations and allergy shots, and of course, great prescription service at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup and McDonald Pharmacy, James Hanna Drive, South Shore.
Stultz Pharmacy.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
I'm April Perry, the CEO of Kentucky Farmers Bank. On average, our employees have been with Kentucky Farmers Bank for over 10 years, and that is important to you and us. We want you to know who you are dealing with. Whether you are financing a new home, buying a car, or remodeling your kitchen, Kentucky Farmers Bank is the better bank for all your needs.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for all your financial needs since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender. Spring is coming, but the specials are already here at Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Assorted cheese mix and bugle snacks, 2 for $4. Jack Link beef jerky, 3.25 ounce size, $6.99. Assorted Hershey king size candy bars, 2 for $3. Assorted Kellogg's Pop Tarts, 2 for $2. Great specials plus quality Argo gasoline is what you'll find at Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hey, don't forget to set your clocks ahead 1 hour before going to bed tonight as we spring forward to daylight savings time.
Cool Hit, the greatest songs, 105.7.
Back here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hit Sports Network. James Carr, have you along with this morning. Joining us in studio, head coach for the Ashland Tomcats, Ryan Bonner. And Coach, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about one for the thumb, if you will. I mean, how special is that? You and I, we talked after the game. A lot of noise this year coming into this season, and you guys had to play through a lot of this noise. You really silenced the critics with that regional championship. Take me back through the season as a whole. Just, I mean, the ebbs and flows for you 2 weeks before the season starts, and you get tabbed as the interim head coach.
Well, the first I remember, and I was talking to our guys about this earlier yesterday. One of the first things I told our team, that first team meeting that I had, just hours before everything went down, I said, you guys have to understand that you are still the best team in the 16th region, bar none, no questions asked. You have an opportunity when this is all said and done, when this regional tournament is over, in March, to look back and say, man, there ain't nothing anybody can do to us. There's nothing that anybody can do to us to cut us down. And I said, but it's going to take you guys staying together through some tough times. I said, look at what we just went through as a team. Look at our schedule. All right, let's be honest with ourselves. It's tough. So we're going to hit some bumps along the way, but the important thing is that we stay together through all that. And if you guys do that, your opportunities are limitless.
That's the one thing about it is your schedule. I mean, you guys, you had a very tough schedule lined up, and it challenged you early on, and it gave you some of those growing pains that I think maybe pay dividends for you guys, especially down the road.
Oh, absolutely. There were so many growing moments throughout the season, all the way up to the district finals. So we were constantly trying to find ways to improve on the court, whether that was defensively, whether that was what we were doing offensively. And we got exposed in so many ways throughout the year, which was a great thing because we were able to learn so much about ourselves as a basketball team, what we needed to do better to get to where we are now.
What's the one thing that you look at through the season and say, this was that moment when things started to click?
Our practices, honestly, it was our practices leading up to that regional tournament. I'm not going to say I didn't have any anxiety going into Moorhead, but the way that we practiced and our focus alleviated a lot of that. And as a staff, we would go back to the office and like, guys, I think we're about to blow the roof off this thing. I mean, we really did feel that way based on the way that we were practicing, based on the way that our guys were interacting with each other off the court. I mean, just everything just seemed to be like, you just had this feeling that something really good was about to happen.
When you saw the draw, you get Morgan County right out of the gate. Right. You're on the same side of the bracket as Fleming County and Russell. And, of course, there were storylines for either one of those teams if you guys advanced on past Morgan. But what did you see in that preparation against a Morgan County team, a team that likes to get it up and down the floor, likes to jack the three up a lot like you guys do?
Well, I mean, we went into that tournament. Going back to the district finals, one of the mistakes I made as a coach was I really overthought what we were trying to do offensively. I tried to slow us down, run set after set after set, and looking back on that, I said that's not who we are. And I needed to stick with what we are good at doing, what we're comfortable with doing, which is let's get the ball and let's sprint and let's play with pace and let's get a really good shot early in the possession. And we went into that tournament with the mindset of regardless who we were playing, we were going to try to do that better than the opponent. I thought our pace was really good against Morgan County. We did go into that game with the game plan we were going to zone, just to try to plug up the paint and just extend that zone to take away the three. And it didn't work initially, so we came out and we decided we were going to guard a man-to-man. And I thought we did a great job of keeping the ball in front, and that really kind of set the stage for the rest of the tournament defensively, because I thought in that game we guarded them really, really well. We were able to pressure them and turn them over. I think we forced them into almost 20 turnovers. I don't have the stats on me, but our ball pressure was really good against them and Russell. But I mean, our defense throughout the course of that 3 games, I mean, we held opponents in those 3 games to an average of 56 points. And with our offensive potency, which the way we play offensively, we can hold teams to 56 points. I like our chances.
The one thing that you guys were getting, transition threes,
yeah.
And how much does that, especially with the style of offense that you guys play, how much does that open up those driving lanes, those straight line drives to the baskets that you guys get from out top?
It's huge. And I talked to Tucker Conway because I know that he was getting frustrated about not getting his attempts and getting face guard, and I was like, Tucker, you gotta understand something. Based on the way that teams are guarding you, whether you score or not, you're helping us, because what you're doing is they're face guarding you in a corner, they're not helping. That's giving Race DeBoard and Xander Carter all the space that they need to get downhill. So as long as you sprint your lane and stretch the floor and get to that corner, you're helping us whether you score or not. That's a big point of emphasis for us is making sure that we have guys out in front of Race that are sprinting, because if we can get a stop, a quick rebound, and Race pitches that ball ahead to Xander, and then Xander has 2 guys out in front of him, it makes my job easy as a coach. I don't have to call a whole lot of plays.
When you've got 2 guys like Xander and Race on the floor, they see the floor so well. They have such an explosive move, that first step toward the basket. How much, like you said, how much does that make your job an easy job as a head coach, because you can really kind of settle more on the defensive side of things? They're going to take care of the offense.
And that's what I did going into this tournament. I really focused on how we needed to guard other teams, what the other teams were trying to do to score, because I knew going into this, I said, don't overcomplicate this offensively. Give them some simple actions that they can play out of, and just make sure that we have great spacing, and those guys are going to find a way to score. And on top of that, our offensive rebounding is really, really good right now. You got guys like Asher Adkins, Tristan Davis, Nate Freeze, even Xander. And I'll throw Race's name in there, and even Tucker. All those guys have the ability to go get a ball and extend a possession. What I've come to find is a lot of your 3-point field goal attempts come off of second chance opportunities off offensive rebounds. So play with space. Give them a simple action, nothing crazy, and just let them be basketball players, and don't overcomplicate it. And I think that was a recipe for really good offense.
Going into that Russell game in the semifinals, I said in the pregame show, my X factor in that ball game was Tristan Davis.
Oh, yeah.
He comes right out of the gate and hits 3 threes, and that really kind of set you guys up for the way that game was going to play.
Yeah, he carried us to that first media timeout. I mean, he was huge for us in the first 3 minutes of that game, and he was so consistent offensively and defensively in that tournament. I couldn't be more proud of Tristan and his performance in those 3 games. He was able to make the all-tournament team. But, yeah, he carried us in those first 3 minutes, and like you said, it just really gave us the momentum that we needed to stay out in front.
When you look at the tournament itself, especially semifinals and finals, you had an unsung hero that stepped up in both games that come off the bench. Braxton there in the semifinals was so big for you guys, and then, of course, Nate there in the championship. But getting those points off of the bench like that you guys got, how much does that aid you with your typical guys that's going to go out and get their 15, 20 every night?
That was huge. And, we talked after this summer, we talked about how much depth that we had and the fact that we have guys that, that can help us off the bench at any given time. And you've got such a variety and such a blend of different basketball players off that bench too, which makes your depth good because they can help you with matchups based on certain nights. Obviously in that Russell game, Braxton Jennings was phenomenal from a defensive standpoint. His ball pressure was huge. And then obviously those threes that he hit in the first half, and they were all good shots. We know that Braxton is capable of hitting those shots for us. So he was huge for us in that Russell game. And then Nate Freeze has been solid all year. And he and Race just have a great connection off pick and roll situations. They both have a great IQ. Nate's basketball IQ is through the roof. He just understands. Somebody told me one time, I think it was after that first Boyd matchup that we won out at their place, somebody stopped me the next day and said, man, Race and Nate looked like John Stockton and Karl Malone out there. They have a really good rhythm and feel for each other in pick and roll situations. And then Nate, he's a great inside defender. He plays with great toughness. He's able to get defensive rebounds for us, and he can also stretch the floor. He has the ability to hit a shot. Over the last 4 to 5 games, he may be shooting close to 40% from 3. I could be wrong on. I don't know that for sure, but his shot has gotten consistently better the whole year. So when he's playing with Race out of pick and roll situations, he's rebounding the ball, and he's hitting shots from beyond the arc. I mean, he's gonna stay on the floor.
5 consecutive for you guys, and again in a season with all the noise and everything, that to where you guys just went out and played basketball, getting to cut the nets down at LST. How big was that for you and for your program?
It was such a good feeling, primarily for the kids in the locker room, because they just fought through so much from November on. There was a lot of question marks going into the season before all the stuff went down in late November, just regarding what we lost from a leadership standpoint, and from a scoring and defense standpoint. There was a lot of question marks there, and then you compound that with all the stuff that happened leading into the season. It gave us a lot on the outside, people with a lot of question marks. What's this team going to look like? What are they going to do? Are they going to be able to win? Can they get over the Boyd County hump? Can they do this? Can they do that? And those guys completely blocked that out. They didn't allow that stuff to seep into the locker room. And because of that, they were able to stay together. And it was almost like it all just finally just came together as we stepped onto that floor at Moorhead. I saw so much encouragement. I saw high fives. I saw pats on the back. I just saw guys laughing and smiling. When a guy hit the floor, there were 4 bodies running to pick him up. Just little things as a coach that just ensure you that these guys are playing together, and that means so much.
I know there was a couple of times your enthusiasm was off the charts as well, and you like to let your guys feed off of that type of stuff.
Absolutely, and I said this earlier. Somebody had made that comment about my energy on the sideline. I said, why not? We ask our kids to give 100% every single possession, so I'm gonna do the same daggone thing. I'm gonna, people might say, golly, that guy's a freaking maniac over there on the sidelines, but I'm not gonna give anything less, because I'm not gonna ask our kids to do something that I'm not gonna be every possession. So, you know, I think that just equates to a really good situation. And, you know, I know that there's I feel great about the relationship that I have with our team at this point, and couldn't be more pleased with where we're at going into Rupp Arena.
Well, let's talk about your matchup at Rupp Arena. You've got Region 3 champion Owensboro defeated Owensboro Catholic. Some may think that was a bit of an upset on the backside of things, but you and I were talking. It doesn't mean that you've got any lesser of a team. Owensboro, a very solid team, 19-10 going into the tournament. They've got 5 guys on the floor that all play above the rim. They're going to press you as soon as you get off the bus. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, they do a really good job of pressuring the full court and a half court. They'll pressure you in a variety of different ways. And like you and I were talking about, they're a team that kind of feasts off your mistakes. They don't necessarily wow you with offensive skill or, you know, three-point shooting ability, but they're so athletic, and like you said, they play above the rim. They go downhill extremely hard, and they go after every single shot that comes off the rim, and so they play extremely hard, and they're well coached. I think Rod Drake he's a Hall of Famer, and so we're going to have to. I think ball security and spacing on offense are huge, and then keeping them out of the paint and holding them to one field goal attempt is also going to be paramount.
How big is that the first 4 minutes of that game, getting into the media timeout, getting your feet underneath you, dealing with the crowd? I think we feel like there's probably going to be a really good crowd in that first round game and stuff. How big is that going to be?
It's huge, and we emphasized that going into Moorhead was winning the first 3 minutes into that media timeout. So we said break this up into small segments. So that first 3 minutes is your first game. Okay, you've got to win that first game, and I think that was kind of something that stuck with our guys, which is good because, you know, we can continue to emphasize that going into Rupp Arena, winning those first 4 minutes, and that's actually something that we do in practice. You know, when we do scrimmages, any type of scrimmage we break that up in 4-minute segments to emphasize winning that first 4 minutes. So it's something that those guys are prepared for. It's in their brain, and they understand that.
Well, before I finish up with you, a lot of buzz around Ashland this week. Obviously, the girls winning the 16th region tournament. One of my buddies texted me this after the game the other night. The girls and the boys through the entire 16th region tournament never trailed for a second in that championship game. 64 minutes of basketball, never trailed either way. But seeing what Stacy did on the girls' side, they have up against a very good McCracken County team. They had a chance to pull off the upset there at the end. Here you guys are building off the backside of that. What's the buzz around the campus right now?
It's everybody's excited. Everybody's excited about Ashland basketball, both boys and girls. Coach Davis and her staff and their team got unbelievable support this year. They were so much fun to watch, and like you and I were talking about before we went on the air, they just don't stop coming at you. They just play so hard, and so they just play so inspired, so together. And as a coach, when I'm sitting and watching them play, that's inspiring to me. I'm like, daggone, how do we get our guys to do that? You know what I mean? So Stacy and her staff, they just did an outstanding job. I couldn't be happier for them. And they got a heck of a team coming back. And then, you know, with us going into Rupp, there's just a lot of excitement behind Ashland basketball. And that's the way it should be.
Coach, always a pleasure talking to you. We'll see you down at Rupp Arena. Best of luck when you guys get to the Sweet 16.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Ryan Bonner joining me here this morning on the show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to bring in some guys. We've got 8 players in the building, so we're going to go 4 and 4 over the next 2 segments. We'll talk about the regional tournament, the upcoming Sweet 16, and who knows what else we'll drab up with these guys that we've got here. That's as we continue here at Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hit Sports Network.
In addition to the Greenup location, Stultz Pharmacy's newest location is at 437 James Hanna Drive in South Shore, but has retained the name you know and love, McDonald Pharmacy, with the same great service you'll find in the Greenup location, with free delivery service and their convenient drive-thru. Get your vaccinations and allergy shots, and of course, great prescription service at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup and McDonald Pharmacy, James Hanna Drive, South Shore.
Stultz Pharmacy.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
Hello, I'm Michael Bowling, Senior Vice President of Kentucky Farmers Bank. When you do business with Kentucky Farmers Bank, you're making an investment in your community. Your money stays local, we never sell your loan, and in turn, we invest in local families, churches, schools, and charities. We believe in our community, and that's why we are the better bank for loans.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for loans since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com, member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Spring is coming, but the specials are already here at Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Assorted cheese mix and bugle snacks, 2 for $4. Jack Link beef jerky, 3.25 ounce size, $6.99. Assorted Hershey king size candy bars, 2 for $3. Assorted Kellogg's Pop Tarts, 2 for $2. Great specials plus quality Argo gasoline is what you'll find at Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return, refresh, refuel. The Cool Hits 105.7 weather is brought to you by Moe's, 115 6th Street, Ashland, which caters and has gift cards. Come, dine in.
Welcome to Moe's Cool Hits weather.
Cloudy skies early today, followed by partial clearing. Later on, a high near 50. Cloudy skies this evening with rain after midnight, low of 34. Sunday, periods of rain, a high of 44.
Cool Hits 105.7.
Back here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network, James Collier in studio. We just finished up with Coach Bonner. Now we got some guys in the studio, so I'll start with them. I'll start over here with Nate. I'll let you guys go through and introduce yourself, and then we'll get going from there.
I'm Nate Freeze.
Race the board.
Tristan Davis. Tucker Conway.
Tucker, I'm going to start with you. Coach was talking, tough with you. He was talking about, a little bit of frustration through the tournament stuff, and especially with the way guys were guarding you. You were getting face guarded a lot, but he explained one of the things that as long as teams continue to face guard you, especially down in that corner, it's really allowing you guys to open up the floor because of the way that Race and Xander can get downhill.
Right. It can be frustrating at first, but like Coach Bonner said, I mean, if it's helping the team, then I'm all for it. So, I mean, that's just how I got to go by it.
What's it feel like? The thumb, one for the thumb. You got 5 regional championships now that you guys have gone consecutively, but you being one of those guys that's been around the previous times, how's it feel?
It feels great. I mean, each team is different, and each team has played together, and I feel like that's been one of the reasons why we've came up on top the last 5 years.
For you, you battled through a little bit of injury earlier in the season, and you got yourself back. The time while you were away, some of those guys that had to step in and fill those voids, how much do you feel like that paid dividends there in the regional tournament?
It paid huge dividends, and I feel like our depth is really good now, and I feel like everyone's getting a little bit more experience, and it's going to help in the long run.
Tristan, for you, going into that Russell game in the semifinals, I said you were the X factor that I had kind of tabbed for that game. You come out, nailed 3 threes right out of the gate. How big was that for you to get, one, you started, but also get you guys rolling downhill?
That was really big. I mean, our thing was just get out and make them run and then pressure them on defense. I think we done all that, and that's the big reason why we won by 24.
You guys start off at a zone, you go into man-to-man, and once you got in man-to-man, it really seemed like it made things difficult on them. What was when did Coach make that decision of we're going to pull out of the zone, really get up in them on the man-to-man side?
Whenever Nate went in, that way we'd have a big presence they could take on Damon, and Nate done a great job with him. He battled with them and all that. And then we just wanted to keep them out of the paint in the zone, and I thought we done a good job of that. And then everything we done that game was spot on.
Coach said coming into the tournament, the way you guys were practicing, he felt like there was something special coming. You guys shot the ball very effectively. You got it in transition, and anytime you guys are shooting threes in transition and hitting those shots, it opens up those drive lanes for those guards out top.
Yeah, I mean, that's big. Whenever you're hitting transition threes, I mean, it's hard to guard that. Like, either you got to give up a straight line drive or you got to guard that and let us shoot a three, and we're probably going to make it, knowing us.
Race, for you, having those guys when they hit those transition threes, being one of those guards out top that gets that straight line, how much did you see the floor open up and give you those driving leads?
Yeah, it was big. Our best offense is our tempo, pushing the ball. So whenever I can trust these guys to make shots. You know, if I pass it to them, I know they're going to make it. So the defense they have to choose either one or the other. So I mean, it's big.
When you've got you and Xander out top, and you can really kind of see which side of the floor the defense is setting up on, and you guys can kind of play off each other. How much more difficult does that make defensively to try to slow down both of you at the same time?
Yeah, Xander, he's like another point guard. Really, he's like 6'4" point guard. That's hard to stop. So either it's like he can take anybody one-on-one, and like if he drives downhill, he kick it, or if I drive downhill, he kick it. So it's hard to like stop both of us at the same time.
One of the things you guys do a lot, you like to drive to the rim, but then kick to the corner and get that corner three, and that's one of the most effective shots in the game. When you do that drive and kick, that next time down the floor, do you see that lane open up a little more?
Yeah, it always opens up because, I mean, that's when people watch film. You know, I mean, that's what they probably see me do is drive and then kick it corner, kick it out. But like, I mean, you have to change it up a little bit. So when I drive the next time, I'll either shoot it or kick it to the wing or something. So it's always trying to mix it up.
In the championship game, that guy sitting next to you, you guys kind of had a sixth sense. It seemed like you guys got going on with that pick and roll. Coach said that you do that very well. What is it about with Nate when you guys get in that position, that pick and roll that works so well?
I don't know. You know, it's just as soon as we played that first Boyd game, I mean, they just kept doing it and they couldn't stop it. And it was just like, it was just clicked right there. You know, he's picking and rolling, and it just worked every time.
Nate, in the championship game, and you're probably one of your best games of the entire season. How big was it for you?
I mean, it was big, but I mean, you know, a lot of credit goes to this guy right here. I mean, playing off the pick and roll, he plays with really good patience, and he sees the defenders really well, and he always knows like the perfect time to make that pass. So that really helped me a lot, and it got me a lot of those buckets.
I know Coach talked to me after the game, and he said one of the things that he credited you with is your patience on the pick and roll. You see a lot of guys, they get to the pick, and they want to go too quick, and you gave it time to set up, and then that dump comes over. You were 8 of 9 from the field, and you were shooting point-blank shots the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I kind of know my pace on the roll and how it needs to be based off of how he comes off of it. I mean, I know if he's, you know, steamrolling downhill and he's going at the rim, I need to get down there quick because either he's got to dump it off or he's going to take a layup, and if, you know, he happens to miss it, I'm there for the rebound. But if he's playing patient, you know, I'm going to let the defense settle and then make him make a choice. Either he's got 2 points or I got 2 points.
When did you feel in that game that something special was coming that night for you?
I think in the third quarter, after I hit the first three, I started to feel pretty good. And then the pull-up jumper there at the end of the quarter was big, and it really got me rolling. It got me in a good sense for the game, and I felt like something special was definitely happening.
Reese, is it fair that a guy that big can step out and hit a three?
That's how now you're supposed to guard that, really. I mean, you can either roll or you can pop. So, I mean, it's hard for people to choose which one to guard that.
When you have that ability to where, you know, like in the Russell game, Braxton jumps off the bench and starts splashing down from Tripletown, hits 4 threes there in that quarter. When you have that ability to continue the offense moving forward like that, how much more difficult defensively does that make things?
We're probably one of the most, like, deep teams that people have around here, you know. I mean, we have a whole nother starting five that could go out there and play just as hard as we could. And, I mean, knowing that as a defensive standpoint, I mean, you have to, you know, I mean, it depends how deep they are. You know, if they have 5 guys that can go out there and step up and play as good defense as the other starting 5, and, I mean, that's just hard to guard.
Tristan, for you, having that ability to have guys roll off the bench and the production not fall off, how much does that take it to where when you come off the floor, you feel comfortable with the guy that's going to be in behind you?
That's big, man. I mean, like, they work hard. They work just as hard, if not even harder than us in practice, and like that just makes them better, them going against us, and it's showing in the games.
Let's just say in practice, what's it like with these guys that's going up against you, and how much are you seeing that translate over into their game time?
It's big. Like from first practice, they were getting drilled every time, and from now, there's sometimes like they may even come closer, may even win the drill. I mean, they've gotten so much better as the season's progressed, and that's helped us. When they come off the bench, there's nothing wrong. Like, they're just comfortable out there because they've been playing against us all season long in practice.
Tucker, have you guys noticed that, like what he was talking about, their skill level coming up and more, that's pushing you guys more in practice?
Yeah, it honestly reminds me a little bit of like how the older guys were when they were younger, playing against like Colin and Cole and Selly, and it kind of looks crazy to like think like you're the older guy and you're like, oh, these guys are coming in ready to play, and it kind of helps us.
One of the things I pointed out during the broadcast throughout was Coach's intensity level on the sideline. I mean, he was a madman at times, and we just talked, and he said he feels like he wants 100% from you guys, and he's going to do the same thing. When you guys see him get fired up, amped up over on that sideline, does it really get you going? Tucker, I'll start here with you.
I think I love it. I mean, if you have a coach that has your back 100% and he's always fired up, then I mean, you're going to want to put more into it, and you're going to want to get more like from the game and stuff like that, and you're going to give everything you can for him, and not just for the team, but for him, because he's giving everything back.
Tristan?
There was one time against Russell where we played good defense, and we thought it was out on them, but they called it out on us. I swear Coach Bonner went from one side of the court to the other just yelling. I swear that got us all so pumped up, and then we got, I think, maybe 3 or 4 stops in a row after that. So, I mean, that was just big. That got us all pumped up as if we weren't pumped up enough. I mean, that was just a tone setter right there for the rest of that game.
Race, you're a big energy guy anyway. Having someone like that, does that give you like just a little bit extra boost?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who wouldn't want a coach like that to jump around and, like, I don't know, be all right there. And after the game, we was talking, and heard that Coach Bonner, he was like slamming the desk, and his daughter started crying because he was all excited. He was so excited that we won, and I mean, that's just awesome to have a coach like that.
Nate, for you, I mean, that's one guy that you have to look up to around your team. I mean, he's a big-bodied guy. I told me he looks more like an offensive lineman than a head coach, but how much do you play off of that energy that you see from him?
Yeah, it plays a big role. I mean, I love having a guy that's got a lot of energy. I mean, my favorite moment from the season was we were playing Madison Central, and we were in our 2 defense, and we talked a lot about, like, short corner traps and stuff. And Coach Bonner was so, like, hype and excited whenever we started trapping Robbie Todd in the corner. He was down there almost playing defense with us, and we almost had 3 guys trapping him. So, I mean, I love having a guy like that on the sideline. It makes a really big difference whenever you got a coach who's vocal, and he ain't afraid to just yell at you and get you fired up.
Guys, I'm going to start back up here with Tucker. One last question, and I'll wrap up with you guys. Getting a chance to step on the floor at Rupp Arena for a chance at a state championship, how special is that? Tucker, I'll start with you.
Every kid's dream in Kentucky. I mean, like Ray said, Ray says it's been one of his biggest goals, and I'm glad that our team can get us like those new guys that have never stepped foot on Rupp. And I remember talking to a freshman and saying, hey, just whatever you do, just don't trip out there on warm-ups. And I was just telling them, I was like, you're gonna love it. You're gonna feel a little nerves, and I mean, you're gonna love it. So.
Tristan.
This has been a big dream just to play on that court. I mean, we've been past 3 years. We would have went freshman year, but COVID hit. But it's always so cool going out there and just warming up and running out and all that with all these kids right here, my teammates. I mean, I couldn't be happier for this guy right here getting ready to play for the first time right there. I mean, that's going to be big. And I think we got a real shot.
Brace.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest goals is to make it there. And I did an interview after the game, and it was like, what do you think now that you're going to Rupp? And I told him that I knew I had to move to Ashland in order to make it there. So, I mean, that's pretty big that I get to go there, and I couldn't have done it without my teammates pushing me every day and the people on the bench that get hyped during when we score and all that, and Coach Bonner stepping in a way that he wish he didn't. But, I mean, it's one of the biggest dreams of my life, and I'm glad.
Nate?
I remember growing up as a little kid watching UK basketball. It was always, so cool and thinking like, man, I'd love to play there one day and all this other stuff. And, I mean, just to live out the dream that, every little kid aspires to have is, go out there and play in Rupp Arena. It's such a special moment that, I know I won't take for granted. And it's going to be one of those things I look back on, when I'm 50, 60 years old. I'm just going to be so grateful that I got the opportunity to go out there and play.
Well, gentlemen, congratulations on another region championship. Best of luck at Rupp. We'll see you down there on Wednesday night.
Thank you.
Tucker Conway, Tristan Davis, Race to Board, and Nate Freeze joining me here in the studio. We'll take a break. When we return, we've got 4 more guys from the team in as we continue our coverage here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hit Sports Network.
In addition to the Greenup location, Stultz Pharmacy's newest location is at 437 James Hanna Drive in South Shore, but has retained the name you know and love, McDonald Pharmacy, with the same great service you'll find in the Greenup location, with free delivery service and their convenient drive-through. Get your vaccinations and allergy shots, and of course, great prescription service at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup and McDonald Pharmacy, James Hanna Drive, South Shore.
Stultz Pharmacy.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
I'm April Perry, the CEO of Kentucky Farmers Bank. On average, our employees have been with Kentucky Farmers Bank for over 10 years, and that is important to you and us. We want you to know who you are dealing with. Whether you are financing a new home, buying a car, or remodeling your kitchen, Kentucky Farmers Bank is the better bank for all your needs.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for all your financial needs since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. Spring is coming, but the specials are already here at Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Assorted cheese mix and bugle snacks, 2 for $4. Jack Link beef jerky, 3.25 ounce size, $6.99. Assorted Hershey king size candy bars, 2 for $3. Assorted Kellogg's Pop-Tarts, 2 for $2. Great specials plus quality Argo gasoline is what you'll find at Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hey, don't forget to set your clocks ahead 1 hour before going to bed tonight as we spring forward to daylight savings time.
The Tri-State's Cool Hits, 105.7.
Back here at Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network. It's like the Today Show. I got these guys behind us in the window out here having a good time. But talking this morning with Ashland Tomcats basketball, they're headed off to Rupp Arena in the Boys Sweet 16. They'll play this Wednesday night at 8 p.m. against Owensboro. And you can hear every game of the Boys Sweet 16 right here on the Cool Hits Sports Network. Well, let's introduce our newest group in the studio. I'll start first here with Tyson. I'll let you guys introduce yourself, and then we'll start from there.
I'm Tyson Lalone.
Ash Radkins.
Xander Carter.
Braxton Jennings.
I like that they look down at their microphone like they have to. You don't have to look at your microphone. It's okay. Tyson, for you, let's start. You've become kind of a role guy to where you jump off the bench, you provide some energy. How big has that been, and how long has it taken you to kind of find your niche of what you're expected to do when you jump into a ball game?
Yeah, it all starts in practice because I just got to do whatever the coach wants me to do. If that's going to get rebounds, playing good defense, or finding the corner, stretching the corner, hit a three.
Playing against these guys, several of these guys that we just talked to in here, the starters, playing against them in practice, and I know that Tristan and Tucker talked about it. At the beginning of the season, you guys were getting waxed, and he said toward the end of the year, you guys are actually pushing them. How much have you seen, because of the way they challenge you, that it's raised your game?
Oh, yeah, it's raised it a lot because it's just they play such good defense, and it just makes you have to just do whatever, you know.
Asher, for you, you're kind of one of those role players to where it seems like whenever there's something that needs to happen, you are that guy. 13 rebounds in that region championship game. And it was something to where Coach said you guys really got after it in the glass, and that was something he challenged you guys going into the tournament.
Yeah, pregame, Coach, said we got a rebound, and, it's just a matter of who wanted it more. And I take pride in doing the little things and rebounding and playing defense, whatever it takes to win. I feel like I'm a winner, and I want to do whatever we can to win the game. So whatever that may be, and I saw that rebounding that game was going to be the factor for me, so I just went for it.
You see a lot of kids, they get lost in the points. That's always about the stats.
Yeah.
But double-digit rebounds in that game, that right there was something that was huge. And it seemed like every time that you guys needed to get a second look, it was you grabbing the basketball. When did you feel it in that ball game to where you knew that something special was coming for you that night on the glass?
So I was up. So I was like, thinking I'm ahead in the first half. I've got to score. I've got to try and score the ball to help the team win. But the ball just kept finding me, and, with me, I'm like 6'2", 6'3", so it's all about position with me because, I got guys like Jason Ellis and Caleb Brimmer who live on the boards, and, I got to make sure I got to get good position to be able to get the ball. So coming out of the first half, I asked my dad, who does the book, I was like, how many rebounds I got? He said 7. I said, okay, I'm going for 15. So, I just take pride in that, and second chance opportunities are huge. Kick out threes. I got guys all around me that can shoot and hit shots. So tried to utilize that as much as I could.
You see a stat in basketball that it's such a high percentage shot, a kick-out three, especially with a team like you guys that shoot the three so well. How big is that?
Very big. Momentum changing. It's really a killer for the other team because, they think they got to stop, but then, one of us gets a rebound, kick out three. That's momentum changing. So very important in big games like the championship. So,
Xander, for you, having the way that you guys had that tournament come, it was like there was times you had to be very patient with your offense. There was times offense came early to you. What was it, kind of that back and forth battle that you had to go through?
It was really just we all wanted to win at the end of the day. It doesn't matter, who was scoring. If Tyson comes out and hits 5 threes or Braxton comes out and hits 5 threes, it don't really matter to me. I just want to do what's best for our team. And if it was scoring at that moment, I would try and get a bucket the best I could. And if it wasn't, I'd hit the open man for the open shot.
I know with you and Race out top, you guys kind of have to play off each other, and sometimes you've got the open line, sometimes he's got the open line, but a lot of times the drive for you guys is the kick out, and that kick out, does it open up more opportunities the next trip down the floor?
Yeah, for sure. Every time we do that, they have to respect the shot and stay tight to the man. And Coach Barner always talks about it opens up a double gap, and we like to drive in double gaps because it's more space and a higher percentage shot. So knowing that we have guys that can shoot all around the perimeter, we kick out, and it opens up the drive for us more.
The Morgan County game, Morgan County really pushed you guys there in the first quarter.
Yeah.
What was it that got you guys going there in the second?
It was, everybody from top, Coach Bonner, to the end of the bench, we were all just locked in, and it was, if we lost, our season's over, and we didn't want that to happen. So we had to refocus up. They came out, hit some big shots, didn't really miss to start the game, and then we finally settled in, focused in, and we started executing our game plan.
Coach talked about the way you guys turned them over there in that second quarter into that ball game. How much, again, so many times those turnovers happening near midcourt, and those are easy runouts on the other end.
Yeah, those are huge. Anytime you can get an easy bucket in the game, you take it because that's some of those points are the ones that decide who win and who go home. So those plays that not only me but our entire team makes each and every night is huge and special for us.
Braxton, for you were a big guy there in the Russell game. You jump off the bench, and it just seemed like everything you threw up started going down. Yeah. What was it in that game that got you going early?
It really all started with Tristan Davis coming out and hitting three threes off the bat. And then when I saw that, I was like, it made me just want to play harder. So I got in, I hit my first three. I'm like, okay. So then I started playing harder defense. Then I just kept finding open space. So then they just kept feeding me, and I kept shooting and making it.
That first three that you put up, was it one of those, it was a momentum builder that got you going?
Yeah. So when I hit that three, it just made me want to play a lot harder and, keep shooting more, actually. Yeah. Did you
notice that the defense had to start closing out on you more the more threes that you started putting down?
Yeah, at first they was playing way off of me. They was in help two in the paint and leaving me open in the corner. Because going into this game, before this game, I was I want to say 25% from three. So they wasn't really worried about my 3-point shot. So it was just helping. And then as I start making threes, they helped.
Xander, when you see a guy like that on the floor to where he gets the hot touch, do you keep it in your head of I've got to find that guy because that's the hot hand for the moment?
Oh yeah. I think that's the way our whole team is whoever has the hot hand, we're going to feed him, and then we're going to keep riding that horse until it shuts down. And Braxton, it just didn't shut down the whole game, and he came out really hot, played great defense, and then whoever else was hot, we're going to feed him the ball every time.
Asher, one of the things you talked about, that kick-out three, when you've got a guy like that and you get that offensive rebound, are you trying to find him for your first look?
Yeah, for sure. Especially a team like Boyd County, they're crashing the glass. They're trying to get rebounds. So I know that somebody's got to be open on the three. And I don't know if Braxton remembers, but as soon as I saw them playing off, his guy was almost in the paint. And I was like, Braxton, dude, be ready. Catch and shoot. It's going to be there. Coming out, somebody, I think it might have been a media timeout or just a regular timeout, but I told him that, and sure enough, he goes crazy. So I'm just happy for him and being able to execute. So but for sure, I got great shooters around me, so definitely.
Tyson, how big is it whenever you see a guy like Braxton jump off the bench and get going? Nate did it in the championship game, knowing that you're going to come off of the bench, but you get those opportunities each time. How eager does that make you to get in the basketball and make an instant impact?
It gets me going. It makes me happy to see that they're doing good. And if I'm not doing good, it's okay if they're doing good because I just want to win.
Well, guys, I want to give you the last two questions that I gave the other guys too. So one of the things Coach and I talked about in his interview, his energy, it's to the top of the scale. How much does the energy that he gives on the sidelines, how much does that get you guys going? Tyson, I'll start with you.
Oh, it gets us going. Like, his energy just brings the whole team together and gives us the energy to go.
Asher?
Yeah, for sure. I feed off energy, and I just love it whenever he's, I listened to the guys before. He's almost closing out, trapping in the short corners, and, but
Coach, we have to stick a jersey on you this week.
A coach like that, it really like boosts you, especially like if you maybe come out flat, whatever. We got a coach who gives energy, and I just feed off it. Makes me play harder, makes our teammates play harder, and really gives us a big boost for the game.
So. Xander?
Yeah, having a coach like that allows really no slippage in your program because you're going to get his 110%, and if he's the one putting in the hours for film, and we are too, but not near as much as the coaches, and he's coming out with that energy. We just a respect thing for our coach. We're going to play as hard as we can and reciprocate the same energy that he gives us.
Braxton?
I really love Coach's energy. I mean, it gets us all going. It starts in practice. He has a lot of energy in practice, and that makes us want to play harder.
Guys, last question I've got for you. Wednesday night, you're going to step on Rep Arena's floor, and I think Tucker or Tristan, one of the two, said it earlier. It's a dream of every kid in the state of Kentucky playing basketball. How special is that going to be for you, Tyson?
It's going to be one of my first times playing in the big stage, I think, and I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited.
Asher?
Yeah, in 5th grade, I was on an STLP trip and for state, and we was at Rupp, and I walked in the gym and I said, I'm going to play here one day, probably thinking it was going to be on UK's team, but regardless, we were able to do that previously, and I'm actually going to be able to impact the game a lot more than I did previously. But I'm just really looking forward to it. It's every kid's dream in the state. I mean, who wouldn't want to play at Rep Arena? So looking forward to it and looking to show the state what this team has to offer, and that we can compete with anybody.
Sander?
I mean, it's a blessing every time you can just play the game of basketball in general, but play on as big of a stage as playing at Rep Arena in front of thousands of people. It's truly humbling to see all those people want to come and not just watch you play, but just watch everybody, give glory to God at the end of the day. And, every time, I remember the first time I walked out, it's like when you're on the floor, the upper deck is real dark and you can't really see anybody. So my first time when I walked out on Rep Arena, which I'm super excited for Tyson and Braxton to see, there's nothing else like it. And so being able to play on that stage is truly amazing.
What's the roar like as a player whenever things really get amped up in that game?
It's nothing else like it, especially when the crowd gets into it and there's a bunch of people there. Like that first year we went to the Final Four as COVID year, but I mean the stadium's so big, people were allowed to be there. So once the game started going and we started getting hot, the crowd started getting into it, and it was amazing.
Braxton, for you, first trip?
Yeah, it'll be my first time on the floor. It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Best of luck, and we'll see you Wednesday night down at Rep Arena.
All right,
thank you.
Ashland Basketball in the house this morning, representing well. They'll be against Owensboro this Wednesday night at 8:30. You can hear all the action right here on the Cool Hit Sports Network. We'll take a break. When we return, it's the Border Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. That's as we continue here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hit Sports Network.
In addition to the Greenup location, Stultz Pharmacy's newest location is at 437 James Hanna Drive in South Shore, but has retained the name you know and love, McDonald Pharmacy, with the same great service you'll find in the Greenup location, with free delivery service and their convenient drive-thru. Get your vaccinations and allergy shots, and of course, great prescription service at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup and McDonald Pharmacy, James Hanna Drive, South Shore.
Stultz Pharmacy.
Does your gas station or convenience store need a facelift? If so, call River City Builders at 473-4112 for your remedy. Big or small projects, River City's Builders is a company for all your needs. We have extensive experience in the petroleum industry, from routine gas dispenser and canopy maintenance to above-ground, underground tank and piping work to full-blown remodels and new builds. Call River City Builders at 473-4112 for all your petroleum needs. We'll cover your back and keep your customers pumping gas.
Hello, I'm Michael Bowling, Senior Vice President of Kentucky Farmers Bank. When you do business with Kentucky Farmers Bank, you're making an investment in your community. Your money stays local, we never sell your loan, and in turn, we invest in local families, churches, schools, and charities. We believe in our community, and that's why we are the better bank for loans.
Kentucky Farmers Bank, the better bank for loans since 1931. Located in Ashland, Summit, and Catlettsburg. KentuckyFarmersBank.com, member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Spring is coming, but the specials are already here at Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Assorted cheese mix and bugle snacks, 2 for $4. Jack Link beef jerky, 3.25 ounce size, $6.99. Assorted Hershey king size candy bars, 2 for $3. Assorted Kellogg's Pop Tarts, 2 for $2. Great specials plus quality Argo gasoline is what you'll find at Clark's Pump and Shops of the Tri-State. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return, refresh, refuel. The Cool Hits 105.7 weather is brought to you by Moe's, 115 6th Street, Ashland, which caters and has gift cards. Come, dine in.
Welcome to Moe's. Cool Hits weather.
Cloudy skies early today, followed by partial clearing. Later on, a high near 50. Cloudy skies this evening with rain after midnight, low of 34. Sunday, periods of rain, a high of 44.
Cool Hits 105.7.
Back here on Let's Talk Sports on the Cool Hits Sports Network. James Collier, happy to have you along with us. A big thanks to Ryan Bonner and the crew. Let me try this again. Get stuck there between group and crew. The crew for coming in this morning. Some great kids. I've known some of them for a lot longer than others, but it's fun to be around those kids and watch them excel and do what they've been training to do all year long. And, of course, I think it was Tristan or Tucker that said it best, every kid that plays basketball in the state of Kentucky, your dream is to play on Rep Arena's floor. And they're going to get that opportunity when they play Wednesday night at 8:30. You can hear all the action right here on the Cool Hits Sports Network. Again, we'll have the entire Boys Sweet 16. We start Wednesday morning. The first tip-off is at 11 o'clock. We'll have a pregame show that will start 25 minutes prior to each game. So that'll start at 10:35. Jeffersontown and Woodford County, followed by E-Town and McCracken County at 1:30. Then we come back tomorrow at 6 p.m., Warren Central and Pulaski County, and then Owensboro and Ashland at 8:30. That rounds out day number 1. Then day number 2, again at 11 and 1:30 in the first session, Male and Breathitt County, and then Lyon County and Newport. The evening session, Frederick Douglass and Martin County, and the nightcap, this one should be a dandy, GRC and Reed Shepherd and North Laurel. So we'll have it all the way through Friday, again, 11, 1:30, 6, and 8:30. And then on Saturday, 11 and 1:30 semifinals championship game at 7. You can have tune in all the action right here on the Cool Hits Sports Network here on Cool Hits 105.7 as well as on our app. And then I'll be with Let's Talk Sports next week. I'll be from Rupp Arena. We'll do it there. Usually get Cameron Mills. We jump in and talk a little bit and stuff, but we'll break everything down from the tournament and get you ready for what's coming up in the semifinals and the championship game later on that night. So before I get into the rant, though, an exciting couple of days coming up for my family and I. We're expecting our first grandson, and we are in baby alert mode right now. Okay, the days are kicking down. It was funny because when my daughter-in-law and my son told us that we're expecting our first grandson, and it was the due date was right in the middle of the state tournament. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So everything it never really kind of clicked that this was about to get real until Wednesday night when my wife and I, we celebrated our 26th wedding anniversary, and happy anniversary to my wife. And thanks for putting up with me for 26 years. I know it's been a challenge, but I'm not the easiest person to put up with. I'll give her that. But, we went out to dinner and we went and played tennis that night, and that's how we celebrated our anniversary and stuff. But that was the night that it really hit me, was like, the regional tournament's done. It's state tournament time. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to have a grandchild. And, it's a really cool feeling. My son, he is petrified right now. My wife, every time her phone rings, she's jumping like, she's just crazy. But, we're super excited, and we can't wait to welcome in a new member of our family. Phineas Andrew is his name. We're going to call him Finn. My wife has already purchased a Power Wheel, by the way. It was so funny. We bought this thing like 2 weeks ago. We're pushing through the parking lot at Walmart, and the lady goes, boy, some little boys are going to be excited. I said, some little boys 30 days from being born. They didn't be born yet. But she certainly got the fever. We're excited to bring in a new addition to our family, and it's exciting times to say the least. So. All right, it's time for the Border Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. Border Sporting Goods US 60 in Canonsburg for all your hunting and fishing needs, as well as Liberty Gun Safes. See the good folks at Border Sporting Goods US 60 in Canonsburg. Everything out there is on sale, okay, especially fishing. Fishing time is on. I mean, my wife came home last night. I've got all my fishing rods out. I have 18 rods and reels in my house right now, just scattered everywhere. I've got about 1,000 yards of old line strung out, trying to get old line off, get new lines on, getting baits ready to go. I mean, it's ready to go. Fishing is ready to rock and roll. And then, of course, Mother Nature does this, okay? What happened to all that nice weather we had in February, okay? But hopefully we'll get this shot of cold weather here the first part of March, and then it'll roll out of here, and we'll start warming up like we need to. But we'll certainly see as we go along. Well, I was watching a video earlier this week, and one video led to two, and it really takes me into where I want to go with this. But a famous fisherman, and if you follow bass fishing at all, you know this guy's name. His name's Ott Defo. Probably one of the best guys on the circuit. He's just a really unique guy, very humble. He's a heck of a fisherman, too. But I was watching some stuff on YouTube the other night, and there was a video of he and his wife went out just a Sunday morning, went out and went fishing. So they're out on the boat, and of course it's his tournament boat, so it's wrapped, it's got sponsors, everything, blah blah blah, all across it stuff. But he and his wife just wanted to go out and fish. So they're back up in this one little spot, and this gentleman comes out and starts talking with them. And it was funny because they just caught a fish or whatever, and the guy was laughing. He goes, it's funny. He said, I sit over here on my dock, and I cast way out there where you are, and I never catch anything. He said, you come in here and cast where I'm sitting, and you catch all the fish. And, they just laughed it up and was having a good moment. Well, fast forward about 30 seconds, and they go on down just a little bit further, and a guy takes the time to walk out onto his dock and approach Ott and his wife. And he's like, so he said, why do you have to come back here and bother all the baby fish that you could catch with a $4 rod? He goes, you've got a $40,000 bass boat and all your fancy toys. You have to catch the baby bass? He goes, what, are you not good enough to catch the big ones? And Ott just kind of played it close to the chest, didn't really say anything. And his wife's like, we just wanted to come out and enjoy the moment on the water. And he goes, what, they kick you out of the tournament? He goes, you're probably not even good enough to be in it. And Ott, playing the way that I would expect Ott Defo to do. What's he do? He kicks the trolling motor up, and he just moves on. Doesn't say anything to the guy. He takes the high road. And you look at that and you think about, here are two people that are stone throws away from each other. And one is just a great person, just enjoying life, talking to a guy who's a millionaire, by the way, one of the best in the business in fishing. And then you go over here and you got one of the biggest words that I'm not allowed to say on the radio that decides he has to come out of his robe to insult him and his wife. And it's just, the thing of it is that I don't understand why people have to be that way. Why do you have to be so hateful, so hurtful, so spiteful when there's somebody that's doing something that maybe you don't appreciate or you don't feel that it's right? They were fishing. They were just, I didn't realize there was some place that you were allowed to fish and wasn't allowed to fish, okay? When my wife and we go fish, I don't care if we go out and catch big fish. We go fishing. I don't want to go fishing. I want to go catching, okay? That's the difference. Some people go fish. I like to go catch. Catching is funner than fishing, okay? I don't care who it is. But, the thing of it is that I think if we would take the look of the way that Ott approached that situation, he could have really gotten ugly with this guy. And probably should have, especially when he made the nasty snark comment after his wife said, we just enjoy fishing. And it was like, you're not even good enough to be in the tournaments. They probably kicked you out. So he's being very feminist across that, but just kicks that trolling motor up on high and just keep fishing. And the funny thing was, the way their day ended up, she caught 2 big fish later on that afternoon. And I said, I wish they'd slid them in a live well. Went back and said, here's your babies, buddy. But, guys, just be nice to each other. Be better in society. Don't go out looking to be hurtful, trying to be spiteful, trying to do something over on somebody. Just be you. Be you, do you, and everything else will take care of itself. That's the Border Sporting Goods rant of the week. A big thanks to Ashland Basketball this morning. Ryan Bonner and his crew, 8 guys coming in this morning, a fabulous time, and great job by them. Again, we'll be with you starting Wednesday morning down at Rupp Arena, 10:35 pregame show with the 11 o'clock first tip, 11, 1:30, 6, and 8:30. That's your times for the first 3 days. And then 11 and 1:30 in the semifinals, 7 o'clock championship on Saturday night. All that action right here on the Cool Hit Sports Network. Don't forget, spring forward this week, Dwayne. Don't screw up and forget what time you're supposed to come to work, okay? But spring has sprung. Hopefully we'll get those warmer temperatures back in. Hey, you don't have to worry about the Cats tonight either. They lost yesterday. Got to get that in there. Hey, for everyone here at the station, I'm James Carr. Have a good weekend, everyone.
You've been